we want our employees to be passionately invested in our company, we need to be as well. If we want to attract passionate and hardworking people to our company, we need to be passionate and hardworking as well. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso. My experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses to 7, 8, and 9 figures. And I'm sharing my journey to having multiple 8-figure companies and someday, hopefully, enjoying a 9-figure exit. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. I'm just telling you how I did this, and I hope that helps you. I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. And guys, I'd love to connect with you, especially if you're a medical entrepreneur. I have free courses available to help you scale your medical business. Check those out at dralexspinoso.com/courses. That is dralexspinoso.com/courses. I also invite you to connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Alex Spinoso, LinkedIn at the same, and every other platform, YouTube, etc. I am always Dr. Alex Spinoso. Thanks for listening. I don't know how many times I meet with business owners and they say, man, it's so hard to get quality applicants. It's so hard to find good people. If that's you, let me start by giving you and them a little grace. Yes, it does seem like across the board, the quality of the average person in America is not what it used to be. And it does seem like the applicant pool is full of people who don't want to work, don't have any real aspirations, and they want to get paid a lot of money for doing very little work. I get that. I've also experienced that. I also get that post-COVID, more and more people seem to have awful social skills. More and more people are just fucking awkward, right? There are factors that are not necessarily within your control. On the other hand, if you do some research, you will find that between 1894 and 2024, there have been multiple newspaper articles lamenting the fact that nobody wants to work anymore. It's an old phrase repeated over and over and over. So that entrepreneur running a business selling derby and bowler hats in 1910, he was also bitching that nobody wants to work anymore. That entrepreneur running a business selling Frigidaire refrigerators in the 1950s, he was also bitching that nobody wants to work anymore. That entrepreneur running a local Subway or KFC franchise in 2012, he was also bitching that nobody wants to work anymore. Newsflash, hardworking, high character, highly ambitious people have always been the minority. The distinct minority. And that is never, ever, ever going to change. So you can bitch about how hard it is to hire quality applicants. You can gripe about how hard it is to find great hires. You can complain and put all your focus on factors that are beyond your control. Or you can focus on the factors that you can control. And an incredibly important factor for you to control is your own passion. And why the fuck does that matter, you ask? Well, because emotional contagion is a real thing. It's actually a science-backed, evidence-based, real phenomenon. Let me explain it in a very simple terms that a 7th grader could understand. Emotional contagion is like when someone's mood rubs off on you. If you're hanging out with a friend who's super happy, you might start feeling happy too. On the flip side, if someone's upset or angry, you can start feeling that way without actually realizing it. It happens because we naturally copy people's facial expressions, body language, or tone of voice. Our brains even have special cells called mirror neurons that make us feel what others are feeling. So when you're around others, their emotions can spread to you, like a cold, but with feelings instead. Again, this is a scientific fact. There's this great book by Mark Earls called Herd, H-E-R-D, like a herd of sheep. It dives deep into social psychology, specifically how humans are much more influenced by the behavior and emotions of others than we often realize. Earls argues that we like to think of ourselves as independent thinkers, but in reality, we're very much like a herd of animals. Our decisions, emotions, and even beliefs are heavily shaped by the groups we're a part of and the social cues we pick up. The book suggests that everything about us, from ideas to emotions to behaviors, can spread through social networks almost like a virus. It's an interesting take on how much of what we do is influenced by others, even when we think we're making choices on our own. And one of the great statements that Earls makes in his book is everything about us is contagious. How does that apply to us as entrepreneurs and leaders? How does that apply to our ability to quote unquote find good people? It is relevant for two reasons. If we want our employees to be passionately invested in our company, we need to be as well. If we want to attract passionate and hardworking people to our company, we need to be passionate and hardworking as well. There's a quote I heard the other day about a preacher from 100 years ago, John Wesley. People asked him how it is possible that so many thousands upon thousands of people came to watch and listen to his preaching. He said, "I set myself on fire and people come to watch me burn." He meant that he did everything he could to stoke his passion for God and faith. And he was so passionate about those things that people were attracted to that. That's another thing social psychology tells us. Whether you're talking about your love of butterflies or your love of the Bible, our enthusiasm is transferable. So maybe if your team is lackluster, it's because you don't have any passion and enthusiasm and aren't transferring it to them. Maybe if you aren't attracting good people to your company, it's because you are being passive and you are not intentionally, actively, and aggressively going out into the world to recruit high quality hires. Maybe when you meet potential new hires, you're saying shit like, well, we offer a competitive compensation package, good health benefits, and la-di-fucking-da. When in reality, you should be saying, honestly, this is a hard job. We don't take everyone. Why? Because we expect a lot from our team members. Why? Because we as a company fully invest in our team. Maybe you even need to put on your Darth Vader helmet and say, you don't understand the power of working with our company. But seriously, you can't expect what you don't possess. You can't get what you don't give yourself. And right now, I can hear someone saying, but Alex, I'm not the William Wallace type. I'm not going to paint my face blue and say, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our market share. Ah! Listen, I'm not saying you have to be like William Wallace. There are people who are introverts. There are people who are soft-spoken. There are people who actually are pretty gentle and kind and humble people who are highly effective and passionate leaders. They may express themselves differently. They may not beat their chests or shake their fists, but you have only to hear them speak to know they are passionate. You can see it in their eyes. You can hear it in the undertone of the voice. Elevating your team and attracting the right people isn't about personality. It's about passion. Passion that is contagious. Enthusiasm that is transferable. And if you're struggling with that, there are 3 things that I suggest. Ask yourself whether you really want to be in the industry you are in and running the business you are running. If the answer is no, get out. If the answer is that you don't really think your business is changing people's lives somehow, get out of that business. The reality is that every quality product or service, from toilet paper to tirzepatide, positively benefits the customer. But if you can't see that, if you can't connect with that, if at the end of the day you just really don't resonate with your industry, business, product, or service, get the fuck out of it. Entrepreneurship is too chaotic, too brutally hard to try and sustain effort without a fundamental underlying passion. Second is, are you connecting regularly with your vision for what you want your company and life to look like. Passion and motivation are basically interchangeable. They are variations of the same thing. And like motivation, you can't count on passion to be there when you need it. It will come and go. So you need a process for creating passion, creating motivation and enthusiasm. This is where visualization comes in. It's not new age bullshit. It's actually scientifically proven fact. Visualization helps you create passion and motivation. So take 30 to 60 seconds every day and ask yourself, what is my vision for my life and business? Run through what your vision for yourself looks like in terms of personal happiness, in terms of relationships, in terms of professional success. What's your big picture dream? What's your why? Imagine yourself killing it on stage at your industry's biggest conference. Imagine you and your family on a trip to Cancun, smiling, laughing, and happy. Imagine leaving your 7-story headquarters in the most posh area of your city, driving off in your McLaren or Lambo or Rolls Royce. You need to constantly review in your minds the things that drive us, the things that create passion and motivation. It's not complicated. But if you want some helpful tips on how to create and review your vision on a daily basis, check out the book Relentless Solution Focus by Drs. Jason Selk and Ellen Reed. Finally, if you aren't experiencing passion, you're probably not pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone enough. You may or may not know this, but I went to Jesuit high school. I learned a bunch of ancient shit that didn't seem to have relevance to modern life. But one thing I picked up in studying Latin was that in that language, their word for passion is the same root as the word for pain. The ancient Greeks and Romans saw a direct connection between passion and pain. And fuck, the ancient Greeks and Romans accomplished more than pretty much any civilization in history to date. What's my point here? What am I trying to say? Maybe you're feeling dull and flat because you've gotten too comfortable. Maybe you've gotten into a decent rhythm at work and you're making good money and you've allowed yourself to coast. Well, that comfort is gonna fucking destroy your passion. Nothing kills success like success. This, by the way, is why I try and keep myself in what I call crisis mode. You can check that out on another podcast episode. But the point is, the point of a business is to grow. The point of being a human being is to grow. Businesses and human beings only grow when they are tested and stretched. They only get stronger after they struggle. You know the old cliche saying, that which doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So ask yourself, how can I push myself out of my comfort zone? How can I think bigger and dream bigger in a way that requires more investment, more execution and effort on my part? How can I get myself into a new situation where I have to give more of my blood, sweat, and tears? I guarantee that if you do that, things are gonna get hard. Things are gonna get challenging. They might even get maddening. But that conflict, putting yourself in that crucible, will reap dividends for your business and for you. Greater conflict leads to greater caring. Elevate your effort and you'll elevate your enthusiasm. The more pain, the more passion. So let me close by offering a shameless plug. Remember when I said everything about us is contagious? Well, I am fucking passionate. I am passionate about my business. I am passionate about helping other people succeed in business. And I have learned firsthand the value of strategic partnerships and leveraging the power of community. Building friendships that elevate passionate success and fulfillment. Nowadays, I speak often at industry conferences, and one of the movie clips I show is the scene in Braveheart where William Wallace is trying to inspire Robert the Bruce to use his leadership to unite the bickering clans of Scotland against the evil King Edward the Longshanks. And in this great scene, Wallace looks Bruce in the eyes and says, "Help me. In the name of Christ, help yourselves." Now's our chance. Now! If we join, we can win. If we win, well, then we'll have what none of us have ever had before, a country of our own. You are the rightful leader, and there's strength in you. I see it. Unite us. Unite us. Unite the clans. It may sound like bragging, but it's also the truth. I've done something very few people in the medical and aesthetic industry have done. I've scaled several businesses to 7 and 8 figures, and now 2 in the 9-figure range. It's been brutal, but also fulfilling. And do you know what I want to do now that will be just as fulfilling? I want to unite the clans. I want to attract 10 to 15 medical entrepreneurs to my mastermind community, and together, I want us to build their businesses, become who they were meant to be, and fucking change the world. I invite you to check out joincharismetics.com to learn more. Charismetics is spelled CHARISMEDX. So, you ever see the movie Serendipity? It's a romantic comedy from the late 90s starring John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale. I won't go over the full plot, but there's a key scene where the main character is defeated. He thinks his quest to find the love of his life is over, ended, dead. And his friend, played by Jeremy Piven, says, "You know, the Greeks didn't write obituaries. They only asked one question after a man died. Did he have passion?" You may have a lot of questions as you try to lead your business. You may have a lot of questions as you try to succeed in entrepreneurship. Why doesn't anyone want to work anymore? Why isn't my team more invested? Why can't I find great help? But again and again, through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, I want you to ask yourself one main question. One that will help you answer all of those other ones. Do I have passion?